Alright, so today we're talking about Signalis. This game was made primarily by two people, and it feels very much like they took everything they loved and mixed it all together to result in a very familiar feel, but the familiar elements combined to make something new. Sort of like Tarantino's movies or Stranger Things. As a result, the game is a great cross between Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Dead Space, and a lot of anime, which I don't know too much about because I don't really watch too much anime. But before we get into the rest of the game, let's talk about my short-length game on Steam. Use your glide boots to slide and shoot around through murderous robots, navigate platforming challenges, and explore the dark atmosphere of an early 1900s retro-futuristic sci-fi space station, uncover the truth of its downfall, and this fun movement shooter. Okay, back to the game. The gameplay is in the style of the original Resident Evils, but instead of tank controls, it's a twin-stick shooter. There's an aim to gain accuracy and more damage mechanic, which is really good. Overall, the shooting's pretty good. You'll also need to stomp enemies after you down them to finish them off, which I believe is sort of like something in Silent Hill, but personally reminds me a bit of the RH4s and 5s shoot into melee combos. Overall, that's a good mechanic, and like any good survival horror, there's good item management. This game is particularly stringent, only allowing you to carry 6 items at a time, which isn't much for how many items you'll want to carry. It may be a bit harder, but it leads to good inventory decisions. There's also good item-to-item gameplay. Items unlock items, which unlock paths, as is all good and fun. There's good weapon variety, perhaps too good. Considering the small inventory, you'll have to go back to the chest a lot to swap weapons if you want to get a feel for them all. There's decent enemy variety gameplay-wise, and good enemy variety aesthetically. They also have a burn the bodies mechanic like an RE1 remake, which gives you good decisions about which bodies to burn. The bosses are alright, gameplay-wise. There's good structural level design with good flow between objectives. The puzzles are good, old-style survival horror puzzles. I don't think there's a single repeated puzzle. And as a low-budget game dev, I appreciate how much extra work that is. When it comes to the story, it's pretty indirect. I rarely read text notes, so it was even more indirect for me. But I did still get the very general idea, the feel for the characters and their emotions, and you can see how well their emotions are represented on screen. Also, I hear there's a ton of lore for the world, so that's good. The aesthetics steal the show. The world is mostly Dead Space with the alien-style colonial space. There's some Silent Hill parts as well. It's all complemented by a largely red and black color scheme. There's also some good lighting, which is also gives the Dead Space feels. The enemies have pretty good design and are very Silent Hill. There's a good soundtrack. Also, if you like creepy radio noises, this is your game, especially the main music cue. The music in general is pretty good. There's also good ambient soundscapes. Overall, this is a great mix of great things. The environments of Dead Space, the characters and creatures of Silent Hill, and the gameplay of Resident Evil make for one great survival horror game, and I'm giving it a 9.03. So that's about it. Thank you to anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes.